Coffee. Behind every sip, a story 1,000 years in the making. Go ahead and grab yourself a coffee, because today we are going to talk about coffee. Specifically, the story of how this one drink managed to reshape banking, spark revolutions, bring down monopolies, and get banned by 3 different empires. Well, it all started because of a goat who would not go to sleep. Every morning, over 2 billion cups of coffee are consumed around the world. It is the second most traded commodity on the planet after crude oil. The global coffee industry is worth over $100 billion a year, and yet, almost nobody knows the full story of how it got here. The story begins in Ethiopia, in a highland region called Kaffa, which is actually where the word coffee most likely comes from. The climate there is cool, misty, and fertile. Perfect conditions for a plant that would eventually conquer the world. The origin story that has been passed down through generations begins with a goat herder. Around the year 850, he was out watching his goats graze in the Ethiopian highlands when he noticed something unusual. His goats had eaten berries from a wild shrub, and that night they did not sleep. They were restless, energetic, and almost dancing. For an entire night, the herder brought the berries to a nearby monastery and told the monks what he had seen. The monks were not interested. They called the berries the work of the devil. They threw them into the fire. But then, something unexpected happened. As the berries burned in the flames, an extraordinary aroma filled the room. Rich, deep, and unlike anything the monks had ever smelled before. They scraped the roasted beans from the fire. They crushed them. They dissolved them in hot water. And they drank. That night, for the first time in their lives, the monks stayed fully awake through their evening prayers. Alert, focused, and undistracted, word of the strange berry spread quickly from monastery to monastery. Whether this goat herder actually existed, historians cannot say for certain. But what the science confirms is this. The coffee plant is genuinely native to the Ethiopian highlands. Genetic studies have traced all commercial coffee varieties back to wild plants in southwestern Ethiopia. The use of coffee as a stimulant almost certainly began there, long before the rest of the world ever knew it existed. For centuries, Ethiopians did not brew coffee the way we do today. They crushed the berries and mixed them with animal fat, shaping them into small balls, carried on long journeys as concentrated energy food. Coffee as a hot brewed drink came later, and it came from Yemen. By the early 1400s, coffee had crossed the Red Sea into Yemen. Sufi monks there brewed it as a hot drink and used it during nighttime ceremonies to stay focused through long hours of prayer. They called it kawa, a word that had previously referred to wine. Because, like wine, it altered how you experienced the world. Yemen saw the commercial value immediately. Every coffee bean that left the port of Mocha was first boiled or roasted to make it infertile. No seed could ever be planted outside Yemen. For nearly 2 centuries, Yemen held an absolute monopoly on the world's entire coffee supply. The first coffee house in recorded history opened in Constantinople in 1475. Within decades, coffee houses spread across the Ottoman Empire, Cairo, Baghdad, Mecca, Damascus. For a single copper coin, any person regardless of social class could walk in and sit for hours. Merchants sat next to poets. Government officials debated with scholars. Business deals were made. News was shared. Nothing quite like this had ever existed before. People called them schools of the wise. Coffee was actually banned twice in the Ottoman Empire. Once in 1511 and again in 1623. Both bans failed. The people simply refused to stop drinking it. Coffee reached Europe in the early 1600s. When it arrived in Venice, the Catholic Church tried to ban it, calling it the bitter invention of Satan. The Pope was asked to condemn it. Instead, he tasted it. He reportedly declared, "This devil's drink is so delicious, it would be a pity to let only heretics have it." He gave it his blessing. The controversy ended immediately. By 1700, London had over 300 coffee houses, and what happened inside them changed history. Lloyd's of London, Today, the world's most famous insurance market began in 1688 as a simple coffee house on Tower Street. The London Stock Exchange began in 1698 as a coffee house in Exchange Alley. Some of the greatest scientists and philosophers of the era gathered in London coffee houses to share and debate their ideas. For 1 penny, any person could walk in, order a coffee, and sit next to some of the greatest minds of the age. They were called penny universities. King Charles II tried to shut them all down. In 1675, he issued a royal proclamation banning every coffee house in England. The public outcry was enormous. 11 days later, the king reversed the ban entirely. Now here is something that surprises most people. Before coffee arrived in Europe, workers drank beer for breakfast, not by choice. Water was genuinely dangerous. Waterborne diseases like dysentery and typhoid were common killers. So people started every single day with alcohol. When coffee replaced beer as the morning drink, everything changed. Workers arrived alert, clear-headed, and focused. Some historians argue this single shift from alcohol to caffeine in the morning directly contributed to the intellectual explosion of the 1700s and 1800s, known as the Enlightenment. One famous composer was so devoted to coffee that in 1735 he wrote an entire musical piece about it, the Coffee Cantata, in which a daughter refuses to give up her coffee habit. One of history's most celebrated philosophers reportedly drank 40 to 50 cups a day. When his doctor warned him it was a slow poison, he replied, "I think it must be. I have been drinking it for 65 years and I am not dead yet." Good high driver lied. How did Yemen's monopoly finally collapse? In 1600, a pilgrim traveling from India to Mecca managed to smuggle 7 coffee seeds out of Yemen, hidden inside his clothing. He planted them in southern India. It was the first time coffee had ever been grown outside of Yemen and Ethiopia. The Dutch were next. In the early 1600s, Dutch traders obtained coffee plants and transported them to Java, what is now modern Indonesia. By 1700, Java coffee was being exported across Europe. The word Java became slang for coffee, and it is still used today. Then comes the story of Brazil. In 1727, the King of Portugal sent a young officer to French Guiana on a diplomatic mission. His real mission: get coffee plants. The French governor refused every single request. But the officer had befriended the governor's wife. On the day of his departure, she presented him with a farewell bouquet of flowers. Hidden deep inside were live coffee seedlings. He sailed back to Brazil. Those seeds were planted, and today, Brazil produces approximately 40% of the entire world's coffee supply, worth over $7 billion in exports every year. Caffeine was not chemically identified until 1819, when a young German chemist isolated it for the first time. The espresso machine was invented in 1884 by an Italian inventor from Turin, and instant coffee, first developed in 1901, was brought to the world by Nescafé in 1938. Today, coffee is grown in over 70 countries across the tropical belt. Finland consumes more coffee per person than any other country on Earth, nearly 4 cups per adult every single day. Americans drink an estimated 400 million cups per day, and behind every single one of those cups is a story that crosses deserts, oceans, and centuries. A story that most people have never stopped to think about. From a wild shrub in the Ethiopian highlands to a $100 billion global industry. From monks praying through the night to the birth of modern banking and science. From a bouquet of flowers hiding stolen seeds to the cup sitting next to you right now, coffee did not just change what we drink. It changed where ideas were born. It changed how economies were built. It changed the rhythm of human civilization. And it all started because some goats could not sleep. If this story gave you something, consider subscribing to Idea to Discovery. Every video, we uncover the untold origins of the things that shaped our world. The next story might surprise you even more.